Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Alexis University. This time is a little bit different. I interview 14 millennials about their pathway to success. Each week, we will bring you a different video, so make sure you stay tuned to hear about their journey. First, let's just start off with your name and what you do for a living.
Yes, so my name is Milton Dallas, and I live in LA. I work for a software company, and I'm currently a business analyst.
Can you tell us a little bit about your college experience, what college was like for you, whether or not you changed your major, just some of those details?
Yeah, so in my senior year, it was actually time to start getting a little bit more serious about what my role plan was after high school. And the faculty at my school, they really, really pushed us needing to go to college to be successful. I also got that from my parents and like social norms. But what I really didn't know was I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was 18 years old, so it was like, okay, I need to go to college, but when I get there, what do I do? And me personally, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had a lot of my friends who thought they knew what they wanted to do. They were like, "Oh, I want to go to college. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a nurse." So they had these extravagant ideas, and I kind of felt, I kind of felt a little bit embarrassed that I didn't know what I needed to do or what I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, hey, I know I need to go to college, so I'm just gonna apply to something just so I can get into college, so I can keep up with my friends. And I found a certificate program at Michigan State University. So it was separate from a degree. It was actually a certificate, but it would look as though I was going to Michigan State University. So I wanted to be with my friends. So I applied, I got in, and it was a certificate to be an electrician. And just from research, I saw electricians, oh, you can make six figures, you make a lot of money, and it's only 2 years or whatever. But I'm still in college and having fun with my friends. And then I quickly learned while I was in this program that I absolutely hated it. It was not for me. I did not want to be an electrician whatsoever. If you know my personality, I don't like working outside. And when I learned that I didn't like it, it wasn't that I can just change my major because, again, I was not in a degree program. I was there for a certificate. And a lot of my friends who went to college and was like, hey, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a nurse. None of them are doctors nor lawyers or nurses today. And they quickly learned that too in their freshman year. And they was like, oh, we're going to change our major. So they were just able to change their majors like super easy because they were actually in that program. But for me, I could not. And it was a little bit embarrassing. It was because, I couldn't change my major, and I kind of fell into almost a depression like my last semester because my parents were spending a lot of money and myself as well because I had to contribute to help pay for college. We lost a lot of money, and I fell into a depression, and, I flunked out. And I think my GPA was like a 1.3. So I was like, okay, what do I need to do? So I was preparing, I was wrapping up. And I remember this will always stick with me because I was preparing to end my semester. I knew I failed and I was heading back home for the summer. And my plan was I had to come up with a plan. So my plan was to go back home. I was going to go back to I was going to go to a community college because I was like, okay, now I know that I want to get a degree and I want to come back to Michigan State. So I'm going to go take my general classes, get my GPA back up so I can reapply. But I remember this and it stuck. Someone said this to me and it stuck with me throughout my entire college career and still to this day with what I do in my work. Someone told me, it was like, oh, you dropping out of college, you're not coming back. You won't come back. This is the end for you. And that moment right there was like, it lit a fire under me and it was like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right.
And I'm also going to prove to myself that, this is something that I can do. And from there on, and I had great friends. They all supported me. I just talked out, some of the concerns that I had, some of the, insecurities that I had about my choice. And what I learned was that it's okay. It's okay to be 18, 19 years old and not know what you want to do. It's normal. My story is very, very common. went back home and I took my classes. I went to Schoolcraft College, took my my general requirements to get back into state. I reapplied, and they let me in. And then that's when the fun started. I got into Michigan State, and I was like, all right, I came gung ho. I was like, I want to be an occupational therapist. So I was a psychology major. Quickly learned I didn't want to be that.
That's not it.
That's not the job. That's not the job for me. I just didn't like it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. Didn't like that either. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be an electrical engineer. Didn't like that either. So now I'm falling into this routine again. I'm like, I'm getting discouraged. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? I don't know what I want to do. But again, I built a lot of close relationships with a lot of friends, and they kind of helped guide me. And I fell into a communication degree program. And then two, there was some stigma around that particular program. And I had a lot of people not a lot of people, but I had a few people that told me, oh, you're in a communication program, you're not going to do anything. Like, who does that? Like, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to get a good job. And that stuck with me too. And I was like, you make the most out of what your degree is.
Right.
I went into this communication degree and I loved it. I love the theory behind it. It wasn't anything specific like law or anything, but I loved it. I love the theory of how we communicate with people. And in actuality, that is a very, very, very diverse degree. You can do anything. You can go into sales. You can go into the media industry. You can go into literally whatever you want. It's communication. All employers, they want someone who can communicate. So I went through that program, and I graduated in 2016. Graduated with honors. It was an amazing experience. And granted, I started off rough, but I finished out strong. And I fell into a career that I absolutely love. And who would have thought that's, this kid that came in and dropped out, freshman year, came back, went through 5 or 6 different majors and ended up in a communication degree, that he'll be working in IT in Los Angeles. Like, it all comes down to grit. And, you really have to stick to your guns and really build those solid relationships in college. I give kudos to my friends. They were there throughout with me.
So if you knew what you know now, would you still have the same route in college? Would you have applied for that certificate program? Would you possibly have waited since you didn't know what you wanted to do? What would have been different, or would you have done it the same way?
I definitely would have done it a little bit different. I wish that I had that guidance when I was younger to actually educate me on what my options were going into college, rather than you just need to go to college. And also, being a first generation college student, it was hard to get that guidance. But the only thing that I probably would have changed is I would not have applied for that certificate. I would have gone to college and applied as an undeclared major. Since I did not know what I wanted to do at 18, 19 years old, if I would have applied to come in as undeclared, I would have saved myself a lot of money, because I could have came in and just took my general classes. And then just from there, I could have decided what I wanted to do. And I could have changed my major 5, 6 times still, and I would have still found out what I loved. But at the end of the day, I would have saved myself like thousands of dollars.
Right. You talked about being a first generation college student. Do you think that shaped your college experience in any way?
Yes and no. My dad, he went to college, but he didn't finish. He had to drop out because he had to take care of my sister. And for me, I always, had this idea, that I wanted to be successful, and I also wanted to prove to myself and my family that, I can do this. But at the same time, I didn't really have a lot of guidance, so I just kind of had to figure it out while I was just moving through the motions. I made a lot of bad decisions, but those decisions, in the end, it was a blessing in disguise, because it helped me learn from my mistakes, and it just made me that much better.
What advice would you give to students now who are either entering college or who are already in college and they're, you know, having this marathon to the finish line?
Yeah, so my number one advice is when you get to campus, it's going to be a lot of it's going to be a lot of fun activities. And one big thing I will tell you all to watch out for is do not get a credit card, because you will just spend it. Me personally, I spent a lot of money on that credit card, and I was working a job making $7 an hour, working 2 days a week. Not a good idea. And then two, hang out with your friends as much, have fun, you make the best memories. Me and a lot of my friends, we hung out at the cafeteria almost every night, just eating, making jokes. I'm still friends with them to this day. I love them. And then number three is take school serious, because you are there, to get an education. Take advantage of it, that you are blessed to be able to have that opportunity to get an education. And it's so easy when you're there. It's everybody your age. It's so easy to fall into a routine of, just hanging out with your friends and not necessarily paying attention to your studies or putting them to the side. While you're there, your studies are your first priority, and it should always be your first priority. So biggest word of advice, just make sure you study, stay on top of all your assignments, make sure everything's on time, and utilize all the resources that you have as far as like tutoring, anything possible, to just make sure that first year is very impactful. You want to start off strong.
Do you feel like you were prepared for life after college?
Not at all. I was not prepared for life after college. Leading up to graduation time, I had this idea that I was going to get this like big job, making a ton of money. I was CEO. I was going to climb up the ladder really quick. But actuality, I'm a new grad, and you have to start off at the bottom. It was a little hard for me too, because I had some friends who were like, oh, I'm making $40,000, $50,000 right out the bat, right out of college. Like, that's great for you. But at the end of the day, like, it's your story, it's your path. You have to, make the best out of it. My first job out of college, it was a wake up call, because I had to take what I could get. My first job, I was making $30,000 a year. I was doing something that I did not love. I absolutely hated my job. And, I got evicted from my first apartment just because I couldn't afford my rent. But, I had the mindset of, your first job out of college is not going to be your career. You're not going to be there for the rest of your life. But I had a degree, and it helped me get to that next position. And, after I left that job, I found a job that I absolutely loved, and it just kind of skyrocketed my career. And from there, I've just been continuously building upon everything. And right now, I'm still learning. I'm still learning a lot, and just the only way that you're going to do it is this through experience. Network.
Yeah, that's important.
Is important. They say you're going to meet the greatest people, your best friends in college, and that is true. Like, you will need them. Sometimes I use them still today just for a shoulder to lean on, vent when I need to. And a lot of my success right now is from network and just from some people that I had in college. So you're never prepared, but you will figure it out. And, you have to go through the storm, to make it to, success, sunshine. It's great.
What do you think the turning point was for you when you finally figured out like what you wanted your degree to be in, what you could do with your life? What made it click for you?
Yeah, so up until finding out what I wanted to do, I mentioned a lot that I did change my major a lot. I really used my counselor in college. So my counselor listed out a lot of different degrees that Michigan State offered, and listed a lot of the different jobs that you can actually get through these different degrees. So as I was changing my major, I was actually shadowing some of these people that got jobs with these different majors. So like when I was in the psychology program, I shadowed a occupational therapist, and shadowed that person and was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. I was worried if I couldn't see myself doing that every single day. So that's how I knew. I was like, this is not for me. And then came upon, we looked at different options, and we came to the communication program. And for me, it made most sense, because there was a ton of different things that you can do. You can be an analyst, you can be an account manager, you can work in sales, you can literally do whatever. It's very universal, but it gives you the foundation, the basics to kind of figure it out what you want to do after college. So with that, I noticed that, hey, like I am an analytical person. I love working with people. Let me get into this degree program so I can get the basics, the foundations, and sharpen my skills, so that, once I get that first job out of college, then I can still work upon it and figure out what I want to do.
And then you talked a little bit about like having a job shadow someone. How important do you think that is in figuring out what you want to do?
A lot of reasons. It's really important to shadow someone that's in that particular field, because you should understand what you would possibly be getting yourself into. And if for whatever reason, like, that for a fact that that's what you want to do, you're sticking to your guns, you don't need, but the experience will help you land that first job out of college. And with that, so say if you want to be, let me just use this, you want to be a therapist, for example, you should start building those relationships while you're still in college, while you still have the time, learn some of the basics. And if possible, I would highly suggest, getting an internship, just to also further add a lot of skills to your resume. So once you do graduate, you already have a one-up on a lot of other people, and it will help you land that first job. So shadow, get as much experience as you possibly can while you're in college, so that once you graduate, you're already 5 steps ahead of the competition.
What made you decide to go to Michigan State instead of going to a HBCU?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to go to a college outside of my hometown. I really, really wanted to move out of state. But I had a girlfriend in high school, and, I was all in love. So I was like, I want to stay here in Michigan so that I can, still see my girlfriend. Obviously, we're not together anymore, but pull the trigger. If you want to go to college outside of your hometown, I highly suggest it. If you have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend in your hometown, if you leave, if you go out of state, if you guys truly love each other, you'll make it work. That love and that connection will still be there. But again, you are in 2-3 years, like, your life is going to change. You're going to be a different person. You're going to have a different personality. So it's not something that you may necessarily want to hear right now, but you guys may not still be together, and you don't want to look back on it like myself and sometimes think about what if, what would my life be like right now if I would have actually, followed what I wanted to do. I don't regret it, because I met great friends. I met my wife there. But really, really think about that, and don't let someone else determine your path, because it's your life, it's your future. You do what you want to do.
Do you have any last words of advice for the students?
Yes. So have fun. Meet as many people as you can. These are honestly going to be the best years of your life. You're going to have so much time just to, do a lot of different things. There's going to be people on your campus from all over the world, different countries, different continents. Like, learn a little bit about their culture. You're going to meet some of your best friends in college, and join extracurricular activities, and have fun, and don't take life too serious, but make sure you study.
Thanks so much for joining us on Alexis University. I'm sure the students will enjoy hearing about your life experiences. Make sure you all comment, like, subscribe to this channel so that you can get more of these videos. We'll have more coming soon.